Hello everyone, Dr. Mike here, TCOM 101. Hey, in this video I will present part 2 of my profile of the mouse, the Walt Disney Corporation. Of course, Disney is the world's #1 media conglomerate, and it uses all the business strategies we've talked about in the class. In the last video, we explained the studio entertainment segment. We talked about the parks and resorts. In this video, I want to talk about 3 segments of Disney: consumer products, media networks, and the latest segment, streaming or direct to consumer. But first, consumer products. This is a large part of the Disney business model and revenue stream. Okay? And of course, they sell these products all over the globe. There are Disney stores in every major city on the planet. So there's another example of horizontal integration. Plus, this is where the synergy and the franchising and the information packaging is done in order to increase revenue. So the Disney store is another example of globalization. It's an international chain, 300 plus specialty stores selling only Disney merchandise. Man, I've seen Disney market and brand, all kinds of products, both normal and a little strange. Band-Aids, panties, toilet seats, macaroni and cheese dinners, okay, and the list goes on and on and on. You like ice cream? Well, have one shaped like Mickey Mouse. And the Star Wars franchise, oh my goodness. Talk about all of the character merchandising and toys and apparel. All right, now, the real money-making segment at Disney isn't the character merchandising and the licensing, it's the media networks, ABC and ESPN. And especially ESPN has been a great revenue producer for Disney in recent years. Okay, so here are the networks, the television and cable networks that Disney owns. Of course, the ABC network, FX, which plays a lot of the Fox programming, the Disney Channel, Freeform, which is sort of the ABC family channel, and ESPN, which is really a number of different channels, plus the National Geographic Channel. Let's talk a little bit about ESPN. That's been around since the 1970s, and of course, SportsCenter has always been the flagship program. But think about all of the different properties owned under the ESPN brand. There's a number of different channels: ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN News. They control the SEC network, the Longhorn network. There's the Spanish version, ESPN Deportes, popular website, ESPN.com, a popular app, a radio network, and a streaming service, a subscription streaming service, ESPN Plus. All right, that's a look at the major networks, but the big excitement at Disney, the latest enterprise at Disney, is Disney's new direct-to-consumer segment, its streaming services. Walt Disney's first big venture into streaming came in 2018 with the launch of ESPN Plus, a popular sports streaming service, ESPN Plus. Then a year later, ESPN launched its big streaming service, Disney Plus. And this created quite a buzz, and tens of millions of people have signed up for Disney Plus, and it is taking a big share of the streaming marketplace. Did you know that Disney owns most of Hulu, another popular streaming service? This is likely where Disney will place some of the Fox entertainment program offerings and films. Disney also owns Hotstar, Hotstar is the #1 streaming service in the country of India, one of the largest countries in the world in terms of population. Over 1 billion people live in India, and Disney controls the #1 streaming service in that South Asian country. All right, so this is a new exciting part of the Disney business, the direct-to-consumer segment. Now, I don't know how much revenue the streaming segment is bringing in, okay? I don't have the latest data for that. But I can show you the revenue that came in around 2018. Okay, that's the last year I've been able to really find the data. Now, you can see from this chart that most of the money, the revenue at Disney, comes from the Media Networks division, not necessarily from the films or the products. Now, films accounted for 15% of the Disney revenue in 2018. I suspect that will be a little bit bigger piece of the pie in 2019 because of the great success that Disney had at the box office with 7 major films in 2019. You can see here the parks and resorts account for about 1/3 of the Disney revenue. And that's been hurt a lot right now by the COVID crisis. Anyway, there are a lot of critics of Disney. Not everybody is in love with Disney. Some people think it sucks, and there are a lot of critics. Okay, the Walt Disney Company has prompted action by activists, artists, causes, protesters all around the world. And there's a number of ethical, kind of critical issues that involve Disney, like the business dealings that it does in China. China does not have a very good record on human rights, and it's a very oppressive country. Lately, there was a big flap over the movie Mulan, which was filmed in an area of China very close to some controversial internment camps and concentration camps. But a lot of people don't like the fact that Disney even does business in China. By the way, you know how the COVID crisis affected this movie. It was set to be released in the theaters, but instead it got released in the streaming platform for what, $30? But maybe that's the direction that most movies are going to go, at least in the short term, and maybe completely in the long term. Another big issue at Disney has always been diversity and inclusion. And Disney has made some progress in this area, especially in the last decade. It has more important characters of minority members and people who are non-whites. But there's still progress to be made in the representation of minorities and others, in the Disney universe. Disney has created content in the past that by today's standards would be considered sexist and racist. Right? Now, if that stuff is available on the streaming platform, it's labeled. There's a warning label that tells us that the film or the cartoon may contain outdated cultural depictions. That's a euphemism for racist or sexist or other kind of content that wouldn't cut it today by today's sensitivities. Another concern that people have about Disney is that it's just too big. Some people think it's become way too big and too powerful, especially when the merger took place between Disney and Fox Entertainment, or 21st Century Fox. A lot of people are concerned about this. I don't think the government will be looking to break up Disney, okay? But there are people who are concerned that it's too big. Now, one of the more interesting criticisms of Disney was done by the street artist Banksy a few years ago, who put together an apocalyptic theme park that he called Dismaland. And if you're kind of interested in his satire, his take, his commentary on Disney, you can check it out on the internet. Google Dismaland. Disney has also faced a number of allegations about sweatshops, where they make some of the apparel and the toys and the merchandise. Disney has been accused of not always having the greatest ethics when it comes to every worker that's in its supply chain. And more recently, I've heard criticisms by some of the workers at Disney, which they call the cast members, that some of the workers are complaining about, things that workers usually complain about: low wages, maybe unsafe work conditions, especially during the COVID crisis. Layoffs have occurred at a major scale at Disney right now. And so a lot of people, especially some of the workers, have criticisms about how Disney treats its own workforce. And well, you'll have to decide, do your own research and make your own decisions about whether Disney is a socially responsible media giant. I think it's a complex company, and everything in life is complex and contradictory. In many ways, Disney is a good, socially responsible company, but occasionally we can raise some important ethical concerns about some of the Disney business practices and its impact on the culture. Anyway, I hope you got something out of my profile of Disney, my little two-part profile. Please remember to take care of yourself and each other and every member of the community as we continue to deal with the pandemic of 2020, the great COVID crisis. All right, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you soon. So long.